You're listening to Face of a Feminist with Laura Diaz and Marissa Clark.
Hi, I'm Laura Diaz.
And I'm Marissa Clark.
Did you like my squatty potty in the bathroom?
Okay, I thought it was a knockoff, right? I went to your restroom and I was like looking at the side of the toilet and there was something, it's not a squatty potty, it's a porta squatty. And yes. I thought, is Laura Diaz so cheap? I know that we were both into like Dave Ramsey and we're into saving money, yes. But is Laura Diaz so cheap that she actually bought a knockoff squatty potty? There's no way.
Wrong. I did not.
Oh, let's keep going. No, we're not even going to edit this out because this is the real us and things aren't...
The musical clock going off and my dog's nails on the tile you might hear. But let me tell you about the squatty potty.
This is why we record in my apartment.
I know. Okay, so it's not a knockoff. It is actually a portable squatty potty. I bought it for a trip like a year ago because I was going on a trip and I'm not super regular when I go on trips.
I'm having trouble focusing on your story because of this damn clock.
I'll bet you can't even hear it. So
wait, so you rewind. You brought a squatty potty with you when you travel?
I bought the squatty potty. It's a portable one that you can fold.
Okay.
And so that you can put it in your luggage. And I was like, oh, I'm going on a trip and I need to go more regularly when I travel. I don't know if it's anxiety or I don't drink enough water. I'm not sure why I have trouble when I travel. And so I got it and I've yet to use it. Not only did I not bring it to the trip, but I think it was just shame. I didn't want to bring it out of sheer shame.
Rightfully so.
But now my kids just use it as like a stool.
Like brushing their teeth on top of it.
They use it to get into the bathtub and out. And so it's just a stool now.
I'm all for knockoffs and saving money, but I was like, this actually might be a new low.
No, I spent $25
Laura.
on a stool, essentially.
That's all it is. I mean, literally you could pile a bunch of books on top of one another and have the same effect.
Although their commercial would tell you that's not correct.
Yeah, well.
They say it's ergonomically designed to help you go easier.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know.
I was sold.
Cool,
when
clearly.
I saw it and I was like, I want it.
Something worse.
So anyway.
Yeah. Isn't it sad how people like that make gazillions of dollars that we'll never make that much money?
Don't sleep. Like, people love the squatty potty. This isn't like one of those as seen on TV
it's a
crap.
It's a cult.
It is actually really effective and people are worshiping this thing.
It's an epidemic.
I don't think it's one of those like scams. It works.
Okay, speaking of epidemics, I've been wanting to share this with you. So I was on Twitter the other day and I was scrolling through and I saw this, they have different like trending topics or whatever.
Course.
So there was this trending topic about this epidemic, to use that same word, of men not buying proper bed frames and sleeping on the floor. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, so I thought it was, of course, I thought it was just me and all of the horrible men that I've dated in my life. And remember, it was a couple podcasts ago, I was telling you about how I wanted to break up with this guy because he had a loft bed, and I was totally against having loft beds because I'm not trying to go up and down stairs to go to bed and go pee and whatever else, right?
And I said it's super shallow and you're insane.
Right. Okay. Apparently it's not just me though. So he moved, right? He lived in Orlando and then he moved down south, and when he moved, he got rid of the loft bed, but instead was sleeping on the floor on a mattress. So he didn't have a bed frame, right? So when I would go to visit him for, and stay over for the weekend or whatever, we would literally be sleeping on the floor. And I was so turned off by it because there's nothing romantic about that to me. And then I came across this thread on Twitter. And I guess there was a writer, she was sharing a story about how her husband, when they first met, he was always sleeping on a mattress on the floor. So people were writing back and saying all the crazy things that their, mates did before they met them. One woman said she had to bring a bed frame with her and assemble it herself, but he kept the mattress that he originally had in the closet because it might be useful someday, he said.
Okay.
There is another woman who said that this guy she dated turned his closet into a bedroom so that they could have some privacy together because he had roommates. And it was just a mattress with a sleeping bag on top of the mattress. He didn't have proper sheets. He just had a camping roll-up sleeping bag put on top of it.
And in a closet.
Would you die?
No, that would be so... that's how terrorists live. They just have like a mattress on a floor and no furniture.
Yeah, I mean, you spend all your money on guns and bombs.
Well, they're planning on dying.
Right. Well,
this is like true. Like I would walk in and see a mattress, I'd freak out. I'd be like, oh my God.
So there was this one guy, and he owned up to the fact that before he met his wife, he owned 2 armchairs and a couch. Or not a couch, 2 armchairs, and they would push them together so that they could still hold hands while they were watching TV.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I think that's romantic.
So I was like, is this some sort of epidemic that I'm not aware of, that men just like, I don't know, it's like bachelors? I'm really curious if there's any other women who are listening whose mates like originally just refused to have any sort of normal furniture.
Gosh. No, I can, if I have been in that scenario, I don't remember.
I figured you could relate because you've dated a lot of men.
Let's just put it this way. I think it's safe to say probably. Probably just a law of averages.
Right.
But I do remember a dude who had just like a bed frame. You know what I'm talking about? Just that metal frame. And he was, this guy, they named him, his nickname was Redneck. Okay. That's what that was like his first name. Like, no, I almost didn't even know his name for a while.
Some people, I'm from Polk County, some people would find that as a compliment, but I imagine that's probably not.
No, he was fine with it. Like he would say it like, hey, I'm Redneck. And like, you'd be like, oh, okay. I'm Laura. So nice to meet you. Long story short, I met him in college. It was like just this, whatever. And he was living with a bunch of dudes. And I came over and I saw his room and I was like, oh, well, but you're in college, whatever. A mattress, that's nasty. No one even thinks anything of it. Now, he was older, but
of course he was.
And he lived with college students. Yeah. I don't know why. But anyway, we didn't date that long, just like maybe a couple months. And what happened to us was that we were in his room and we were kind of getting deep, having a nice conversation about life and our past. And he mentioned casually to me that he had attended a Klan meeting. Oh, yes.
Wait. So you're talking about like your future. Yeah, I think I want to have kids one day. I think, I picture myself getting married on the beach. And this one time I went to a Klan meeting.
It was more like, Laura, I just want to let you know that I've never really had these kinds of feelings for anyone before. And I also wanted to give you a compliment, Laura, because you've opened my eyes to so many things I had never knew. I never knew about these things before. You have made me more liberal, things like that. He was just like, you've taught me about racism,
equality,
and sexism and equality and all these wild concepts about like how, a person of color is just the same as anyone else. And that's when he thought he would mention that he's come a long way since his Klan days. And I was blown away. I mean, I have had some doozies, but this one, I was just like, come again? What's that? What? Did you just say Klan? I could not believe it. I felt like it was a joke, and I was like, whoa. Did you wear a sheet?
I have
like, I was just asking him a slew of questions, and he's like, I wasn't the Grand Wizard or anything. And I was like, wow, how do you even know what that is? Like, this is insane.
He was at the Klan meeting, Laura.
And he was just like, it was just a meeting, and I was just trying to find out more, and I realized how insane it was. So he's like, I just went to one. Okay.
The same way I go to find out information about some program I want to enroll in to better my education or something. He's like, no, I just wanted to find out more about the Klan.
Right. Just a Klan meeting, just one. I wasn't interested, moved on to the next thing. I'm like, no, I went to one meeting for the National Organization for Women and decided I didn't have time for it.
Right.
That's something you share. Not, I went to a Klan meeting and found out, that's not for me.
Not for me. Okay. Can we give him the benefit of the doubt that he realized it wasn't for him? I mean,
I guess.
Here's
where.
But
why would he even have wanted to find out more?
Here's what I want to know about you is that Did you see him again
Never.
after that? Okay,
Never
good.
again.
Because I mean, not to give you the benefit of the doubt, there was the 5 DUI guy, and then you continued to stay with him until you found out he would live with his parents.
It was 3. Let's not throw on extra DUI.
Yeah, I'm so exaggerating.
So yeah, I know it's not out of the realm for me to keep dating him. I did not.
Okay.
And
proud of you.
He was very upset by it, but I don't think he faulted me for did he think I was going to be just cool with that because it was in his past?
Here's my thing. Do you just like roll over and spoon and go to sleep after that? Or you're like, I need to get my stuff and I need to leave?
In all fairness, I did not just get up and walk out. I didn't just ghost him.
Yeah.
I somehow finished the night out.
Right.
And then just slowly stopped answering his calls.
Yeah.
And he knew why. I mean, come on.
Oh, well.
Come on. Yeah. But then again, I'm questioning why he thought it was okay to tell me in the first place.
Well, that's my question. Is that were there photos of him that might? Because typically when people reveal something that's really not flattering of their past, and let's be honest, we've all made mistakes. But is there going to be evidence that comes out, or he just had to get that off of his chest?
I think he just had to get it off his chest. I think he just felt like I had opened his eyes so much that he was thinking upon his past and how close-minded he obviously once was. And he thought, wow, I've come a long way from the Klan. That's what I think he was thinking. Wow, there was a day I went to a Klan meeting and here I am with a Hispanic woman talking about how everyone should be equal and this is insane.
Where is he now? Are we friends with him on Facebook?
No idea.
Okay.
No clue. All I know is that the most ironic part of the whole story is that he was a person of color.
No.
Like he wasn't African American. He wasn't, Middle Eastern, but he was very dark skinned. I mean, very. So I am so sure that he has some sort of Middle Eastern descent. Like he almost looked like someone from maybe like India or somewhere in that region, like very dark skinned.
Yeah, that's ironic.
It was so ironic. And the thing is that he wore the cowboy boots and he was just so country. And I wanted to be like, have you ever done a DNA test or like a 23andMe?
Clearly he's having some sort of identity crisis because he's not going to embrace any one, element of his identity.
Yeah, I think it was from one of those places like you were from, Polk County or something.
Yeah.
So I think he grew up just racist everywhere.
Yeah, and you just don't know any.
He was embarrassed to be darker probably, so he probably went really the other way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was wild. It was wild. Did you hear about Khloe Kardashian's situation? So she's in her 3rd trimester pregnant. Mom shaming is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. I thought, well, maybe there was a period where it was getting better. Don't you feel like?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything sort of goes through waves. Like people get on this like acceptance train and they try to do better, but then everyone is just scum inside.
That's so true. That's so true. We can only be non-judgmental for so long before it eats us up. And so Khloe Kardashian's in her 3rd trimester. They, and when I say by mom shamed, I guess it's just more internet trolls. So I feel like they don't count, but they were on her because she decided to take a trip to Japan with her sisters for their last girls trip before she had the baby.
Okay.
And people were freaking out. How could you fly, in your 3rd trimester, which I'm pretty sure it's like a very specific amount of time that you shouldn't fly, not like 3 months out. Like you've got a minute there.
And let's be honest, Chloe's not exactly like the rest of us. She's not flying coach. She's got people with her, doctors. Like even if she had the baby on the plane, it would be perfectly fine.
Of course. Yeah. When you have millions and millions of dollars, you're fine. And anyway, so that was like, okay, people shaming her for that. Did you hear about Kelly Clarkson got shamed for giving her kid Nutella?
No, what is happening?
Yes. This was a while ago and she got shamed because this is why you're so fat, Kelly, because she's a little bigger, she's gained some weight, and they're like, look at you, and now you're gonna make your kid look like you.
Oh my God.
And this is terrible to give your kid Nutella. I'm like, what? Have these people not given their kid a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in their life?
You know what I realized too with these like internet trolls, because we were talking about it, just you and I this morning, and a lot of times it's always the people who can't actually have a photo of themselves on their profile, right? It's like some sunset or it's a stock image of something, and then if you go back and you look at all of their tweets, like all they do, like their entire job is just shaming people. It's awful.
You know what though, I feel bad for them. I truly can say that deep down, as much as I want to write back and say, oh, you're probably living in your mom's basement, it's like somewhere in there, I do feel like, oh my gosh, this person must be in so much pain.
Yeah.
When you just lash out at strangers like that.
Yeah, because my thing is like, mind your business. I don't care what, unless it's like a close friend of mine and I think they're doing something that is, going to harm a child or something.
Right.
I would never come to you, especially me, a single woman who's never had a child before. It's not my right to tell you what to do with your kid.
No, and I guarantee you.
Did that ever happen to you?
Oh yeah, of course. You know it happened to me. I mean, I've now had 2 pregnancies where the shaming was just as robust as the last. I mean, there was a photo I posted and it was like, I don't remember which kid it was, in the car seat. We had already parked. We were then at the location. I took some cute picture of a cute smile or whatever and posted it. And I got so many people shaming me for the location of the strap of the car seat on his chest. It was supposed to be lower or higher. I'm not sure. And I thought to myself, you morons, I just parked. And everybody knows who has a kid, when you're driving, they move that thing.
Of course.
They're like, well, at least with Nash, he practically can like dislocate his shoulder to get out of the thing. I mean, I would have to put him in a straitjacket to keep everything where it was when I had it.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't believe like these people, just awful things like, you must not know the regulations and this, that, and telling me what happens if you get, I'm like, how do you have time to worry about such specific things?
Well, and to me, if I saw a photo of Nash in a car seat or something, I would be like, oh my God, look how cute he is, like the chubby cheeks. Like I would be looking at Nash, not trying to digest something in a photo to criticize you on. But I feel like that's what these people do.
No, that's all they do. And that's why I'm saying the mom shamers are the worst ones. They are just so vicious. And sometimes I feel, as a feminist and as this women's empowerment thing that I truly believe in, I got to tell you, women are the worst ones.
They are. It's totally true.
It's so sad because you want to be like, hey man, we're on the same team. Like you clearly have been criticized because that's why you're projecting your criticism on me.
Right.
Wouldn't it be nice if we all just said nice things to each other? Wouldn't it be nice if you just either A, didn't say anything on the photo, or B, said, wow, what a blessing. Yeah. What a cute baby, whatever. Because your comment isn't changing anything about what we did. I'll still put him in a car seat. He'll still adjust it while we're driving. It's just ridiculous.
So how did you deal with that? Did you ever respond to people, or you just like, did it bother you like later in the day? Like you were thinking about it? Or
I mean, probably some I respond to, some you don't. And eventually you get to an age like now where I'm at, where you're just so used to it, you almost just ignore it now. Yeah. But the thing that really put me over the edge was the story that Chloe got shamed because she posted a photo, the cute pregnancy photo where you got one hand on the top of the belly, another hand on the bottom, kind of making like a circle around it. Oh, look at my cute belly. And people tried to shame her for cradling the bump.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. I couldn't fathom the story. I had to read it 100 times in different websites to believe it. In fact, Chloe came out and had to make a statement because it was that ridiculous.
What, and listen, I'm not like the number one fan of the Kardashians, but like what would be the problem with cradling a bump? Like what were people mad about?
I guess the idea was somehow it was not good for the baby to like squish it or hold it or whatever. And I was like, first of all, doctors say, please rub your baby, talk to your belly. There's all these things you can do. And could you imagine not touching your belly?
No.
It's insane.
She's 8 months pregnant. There's a whole like growth on, like you can't avoid it.
It's like a watermelon that just popped up. Of course you're going to touch it. Can you believe that?
No.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know how you deal with it, and I don't know on that level. You would want to not share anything, but then that's how you make your money, and you still want to be proud of your pregnancy. Like I really do. Again, I'm not their number one fan, but I do feel bad for them because it's just completely uncalled for.
I mean, and she's in the public eye. We're in the public eye. I mean, I always tell my husband, if I wasn't on the radio for a living, if I didn't have to be on social media, because that's part of our job, you know, kind of be in the know. You have to have your finger on the pulse, as I've heard it said.
Yeah.
So you have to be on social media. But if I wasn't, I can honestly say, I don't think I would have any.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that. I mean, maybe a private Facebook page, a private Instagram, but I don't know that I would have anything more than that.
God, I just don't understand how you as a human being could be, sitting at your desk at work or on the couch and you see a photo of this like beautiful pregnant woman and then your first reaction is just like criticize it.
So ridiculous. It's not even funny. It's getting, like I said, it's epidemic proportions.
It is like that's the word of the day.
Yes.
Is epidemic. Speaking of epidemics and like criticism, what was that article that you were telling me about because I saw it too, but I didn't actually click on the link.
CNN, right?
The CNN one about like teen girls.
Marissa, I was reading this and I was just going, oh my God, I have a girl. It's going to be so bad, with a girl. And it's this article about this new research that came out about how teen girls are twice as depressed, anxious, and stressed out as teen boys.
No kidding.
Twice. It was so bad in the research that this is Pew Research. This is very credible stuff that they're more likely to be on social media by a landslide. So they're on like Instagram, Snapchat in far greater numbers than boys. So this could be one of the many factors, but they were talking about how because it used to be girls were just expected to be cute and sugar and spice and everything nice, so they would wear their dresses and that's what they did. But now you're supposed to be athletic. You're supposed to be great at academics. You're supposed to be sporty, but also super sexy. And like, you're supposed to be all of these things. And they said it was role overload. So everyone has a few roles in life. No one's just one thing, but it's almost like teen girls are expected to be all the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just too much for them to handle and they're getting depressed at alarming rates.
Well, and one thing that I'm so grateful that I when I was in high school, right, they had sort of just came out with MySpace. So, and I was on MySpace occasionally, but it was nothing like the social media is nowadays. But I can honestly say that if I had to deal with social media growing up in those teenage years, I don't think that I could handle it because not only are you trying to fulfill all these roles and have this like perfect image, but it's also about followers. It's that validation of how many likes did I get? How many followers do I have? And then, do I have to be more sexy in order to get more followers and more validation? Like I couldn't deal with it.
I would die. In the article, it was saying that not the new thing, but from the research they did talking to the teens, what the teens sort of echoed was that the standard is 1 like per minute.
Oh my
Is that insane? So like if you've posted something and you dare to post something as a teen girl, you better get 1 like per minute or else you consider yourself to have a failed post. It's an underliked post and that's embarrassing. That brings a whole different issue of shame and okay, I should have been sexier. Okay, I should have filtered it differently. There's so many things going through these poor girls' heads. And I totally agree with you, Marissa. I would not be stable at all if I had social media.
No, I mean, we're already not stable in many ways as adults. So could you imagine? And we're pretty educated and open and talking about like mental health issues and depression and anxiety and things like that. But imagine being a teenager and not fully understanding that like you're not alone. You don't have to fulfill all these roles. Like you're just a kid, for God's sake.
Unbelievable. And then they said that teen girls get the least amount of sleep than all groups out there. So that's adults, that's like teen boys, everything. They're the ones getting the least amount of sleep because in one of the quotes that one of the girls gave is that she has to respond to every notification before she falls asleep.
Oh my God.
And so it's a mentality. It is, I have to be everything. I have to have straight A's so that I can prove to the world how smart I am. But then I also have to be in a cute bikini pic and know how to twerk and know how to, take that Instagram worthy photo where you're looking off to the side. The one I do.
No, and I mean, I think back to like, again, whenever I was in high school, I juggled a lot in high school. Like I always had to be part of multiple clubs because I needed to put that on my college application. And then I had to have, AP classes so that, I could afford, college and tuition and things like that. And then I was in dance and then I was on a competitive dance team. So it's like, I did juggle a lot in high school, but if you add that social media element that is so consuming,
and now add all that, and now you've got to have 100 likes for 100 minutes. I mean, it's too much.
No,
it's too much.
So what are you going to do with Nora?
I don't know. I'm so stressed out about it. Like my thing is like, I'm not going to let her be on social media till she's 18, and it's just not realistic.
No.
it's naive of me to think I could keep her from it for that long. So I don't know what we're going to do. I can just hope to God that somehow I teach her that likes aren't important. And even if she is on social media, she's not, stressing out about likes per minute or whatever. But it's really sad. In the article, they said the research shows that self-compassion relieves symptoms of anxiety and depression for teens, and that girls currently have the lowest levels of self-compassion of any group of youth. So that means they're not compassionate they're too hard on themselves, and they don't forgive themselves if they do something that they deem wrong. And one thing that adults can do is that instead of, and I've heard this from friends, family, and they'll say, oh, you know what? And so they'll be super stressed. I know one example specifically, and this girl is, let's say she was 13 at the time. AP class, like whatever classes, the honors, everything else, sports, and they'll say when she comes home stressed out, crying, she was crying, and they said, you put too much pressure on yourself, which is a normal reaction for a parent to say, honey, you know what? You do this to yourself. You're doing it to yourself. You're putting too much pressure on yourself. Why don't you just relax, do whatever? And they're saying that like makes them have more self-blame. So now, on top of all of it, I feel like I'm to blame for this feeling of anxiety, depression, and stress and all these things. And they're saying instead, reassure your daughters that it's a very toxic culture out there that puts a lot of pressure on girls. So they're not like, going inward.
That's really interesting, because I think part of the reason that I was so driven is that my parents wanted me to be driven. And so they very much wanted me. My mom's theory was always, if I keep you so busy that you're so tired that you'll never get into trouble. And I'll say that it worked. I never had like a crazy rebellious phase, because I was always doing something. I was so busy. I didn't have time to go cause trouble. However, I could totally understand how if a parent is the one saying, rather than you need to enroll in AP classes, what are your grades like this week, blah, 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 if they say, I acknowledge that this is going to be, that this is hard for you, I feel like that would be easier to cope that way.
Yeah. For sure. Like, hey, this is the society we live in. Let me tell you about where we live and how we live. Okay, so, all right, Mom, I get it. So it's going to be really, toxic and a lot of pressure put on me. But if you don't care, Mom, that, you know what I mean, that I don't get straight A's, then why should I care? So I think I have to work on that too, because I'm a perfectionist and I expect everyone around me to be perfect. But that's where I came from, a perfectionist mom. And so, growing up, I will say I put a lot of pressure on myself, speaking of self-blame, but that's because I wanted to get the bleep out of the situation I was in. Yeah. So that was my motivating factor, was like...
So then for Nora, if she comes from an environment where she doesn't immediately need to leave, then maybe there's some balance that you can find, but it's hard, because you're right, as a parent... how do you not pressure your kids to do well? Because you want them to do well.
Yeah. Okay. So she got a B. All right. That's cool. No, you don't have to be perfect. But then what about when she comes home with a C?
Yeah.
And then, where is that line where, okay, a C is, I don't think so. You know what I mean? But then how hard do I push? I don't know. I do not know the answer to that. And how do you push someone to be great? Like, what are we saying, that all parents of Olympians are bad parents because they know? How many times did those kids want to sleep in? How many times did those kids want to go out with their friends?
No, and I'm incredibly grateful that my parents pushed me, because that's how we get, you too. That's how we got to where we are today. But at the same time, you want to make sure in this world where it's different than when we grew up. So now, what do you think you would do different with Nash then? Are you going to try to parent the same way, but if he doesn't have that extra pressure for say social media?
No, because he's a teen, he'll be a teen boy, you mean? The whole thing about feminism is you're supposed to parent your children the same. It shouldn't matter whether they're a boy or a girl. As parents, we need to treat them exactly the same, and however they turn out, they turn out. And so that's what I'm trying to do right now, is parent them the same. If Nora wants to wear dinosaur shirts, do it. If Nash happens to love pink, he's obsessed with the color pink, I'm cool with that. That's cool. I'm not going to try and change them in any way. The issue is my daughter is the firstborn and Nash is the secondborn. So this actually has nothing to do with gender and everything to do with the fact that I think typically the second, third, fourth born are not held to the same standard. And that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
You know, because I can already see it. Oh my gosh, even just sleep training or something as simple as that. You would have thought that it was an Olympic sport for me with Nora because I wasn't going to budge. I mean, there was nothing you could have said. I was like, no, this is how you do it. And she needs to be sleeping this many hours by this many months of life. And with Nash, oh, forget it. He's walking around the house with no pajamas on.
At like 2 o'clock in the morning, you're like, I can't be bothered.
He woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, wherever he falls asleep is fine.
How is that going, by the way? Because I know you are sleep training him right now.
It's going really well. So my 2-year-old is Nash, by the way, and he's a little rebellious one. And so last night he got up and he just had pants on and he had no shirt on. And I was like, what's going on? And Mike's like, oh, I stopped putting a shirt on him because he gets hot in the middle of the night. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? His room is super cold and he needs a shirt on because he's a baby and they need pajamas, top and bottom. And he's like, no, he gets hot. He's hot in the morning. You're not here. You don't know. So I go in to like put him down and I put a shirt on him and he woke up this morning and I get angry texts from Mike. I see you put a shirt on him. He's sweating. Thank you very little. Sweating. And he's like, he woke up crying and sweating because he had a shirt on. And I was like, Mike, I am his mom and you want to put our baby to bed naked.
So you're saying it's going well?
No, it's fine. It's just now it's like whenever he does wake up in the middle of the night, it's like, who's to blame? Me or Mike? It's like we look at each other like, what'd you do differently today?
So tell me about your sleeping arrangement currently. How many people are you fitting in your bed right now?
There are nights where there are 4 in bed and 1 bed, meaning 4 people and a dog.
Plus Coraline. Don't forget about Coraline.
Things are getting interesting. I told Mike we need to buy a bigger bed.
Yeah, that's one solution. Another solution would be, here's me mom shaming. Ready?
Yes. Oh, here we go. Wow, we didn't mom shame for like 20 minutes. I think that's our record.
Me as a single woman who has no kids, I've never been through anything. I can't relate to anything you're saying right now. And my simple answer is, well, just don't let him in your bed.
Right. No, of course not. I loved it when I was talking about it in the studio at work and everyone's like, oh, you just locked the door. I'm like, what? I'm going to lock my kid in like a caged jaguar.
I mean, again, to me, it doesn't sound that crazy.
I'm like, that just has to be a fire hazard or something. There's something so wrong about that concept to me. But anyway, the funniest part was I said to Mike, I said, here, at the end of it all, I said, I'm a Puerto Rican woman. And to put a baby to bed with, I already compromise on no socks. To me, that's a big deal.
Really?
So I was like, to put a baby to bed without a top and bottom pajamas is like giving him Mountain Dew for breakfast. That's what I told Mike. And you know what Mike's response was?
What?
Well, to have a woman calling the shots in the home is really tough for a Kentuckian as well.
And that, my friends, is why I love Special Mike.
I think that's how we should end today.
I think so too. All right, follow us. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe on iTunes. You can subscribe iHeartRadio.
That's right. At Face of a Feminist on Instagram and Facebook.
And at Marissa on air.
And I'm at Lady Laura Diaz.